This is the first time we are hosting students over here at our space in order to explain what we do over here. So I'll just give you a very quick introduction about myself. My name is Aswini Bajaj. I graduated from St. Xavier's College in 2012. 2013, I completed CA. I took up a job at CAIA in India, that is into oil and gas, and I was working in Gurgaon for about 7 months. I, in fact, resigned on the very last day of my 6 months probation period so that I have to serve a 1 month notice period. I came back to Kolkata. I started teaching. It was, I think, 16th May 2014. I came to Calcutta. I remember the date exactly because that's the day when the BJP government came in and my mom was really in a panic mode that don't travel on that date if there's any safety issue. And I was kind of carrying almost like 40-50 kg worth of luggage, shifting my base again back to Kolkata. I was teaching on weekends as well in Gurgaon. I'll just give you a little brief since the session is on entrepreneurship, and I'll just give you a brief in terms of how the decision making and everything worked. While I was in college, I enjoyed explaining things, and also we used to have this Saturday seminar. I remember on Saturdays what used to happen was that if you present, at times the teachers would waive off the project that we had to make. I would very often impromptu, I would be able to do the seminar and present something, and it used to be very interesting as well. I remember one particular example where in a IT seminars I was reading Dan Brown's book Digital Fortress. Digital Fortress was a little about encryption and everything, and I don't know if you guys are fan of Dan Brown series and Robert Langdon and the character and everything. I used to do that seminar and I used Digital Fortress as an example to explain things and all, and it went well. So I was good with academics, and then after college I started teaching at home as well. I was teaching the first batch of CFA level 1 back in 2012, and post that CA final happened. After CA final I had 3 months available for me. I always wanted to use my time well. In that 3 months time frame, I remember I was between the CA final exam and the CA final result, I had some time off. So I was teaching on the weekends, working with the trading desk, etc. So I was doing a lot of odd jobs here and there. At that point of time I realized that I can teach well, but then I was not that confident because I was teaching students in Kolkata and a smaller batch size. But then I took up a job with a CA campus placement. I went to Delhi, Gurgaon in September, and over there as well I had that inclination towards teaching. So I went and gave a demo lecture at one of the institutes in Delhi, and it so happened they selected and I started teaching on the weekends. And instead of taking offs on weekend and weekend getaways, etc., I was happier doing a class. Monday to Friday I'm doing my job, and Saturday, Sunday I'm teaching, and it was going very well. So after every 5-hour class we used to get a rating of sorts. Based on that, the remuneration and everything used to happen, and I was thoroughly enjoying that. It happened for 6-7 months, and when I saw that people double my age are enjoying my lectures so much, and Delhi experienced audience as well, so it's not just Kolkata students enjoying it, I thought I can definitely take a call and move back to Kolkata and start afresh. So I left my job, came back to Kolkata. Of course the first couple of years were very difficult because I remember doing a lot of cold mailers, etc., to B schools, calls, etc., to different colleges. I have taught variety at good range of B schools in Kolkata. I started pitching for corporate training, so my Excel skills at my job helped me do corporate training in Excel over here. First I was doing training through some company, or somebody would hire me as a freelance trainer and do the training for XYZ company, Volvo, etc. I remember doing that. And then there was one of the Tata Group companies or something that came up for a training for me directly. There I wanted to really do very well, just like a big corporate training organization I would have, and the certificate printed and everything. So that was absolutely from scratch. Any top-notch corporate training institute, whatever they would do, I had all of those things prepared. And in fact I remember doing that training in Jamshedpur. That was one of the first corporate trainings I had done, and of course the first 2.5, 3 years were quite difficult. And it so happened in 2015 December we started a YouTube channel. I just posted some lectures on YouTube December 2015, I remember, and we crossed 1 lakh subscribers. In fact yesterday we got the silver from YouTube, and just started posting a series of lectures and all, and I saw that people wanted, not only in Kolkata but outside Kolkata, they wanted to study from me. And that's how the online education and everything happened. And 2-3 years down the line I've done a lot of consulting work and everything. I was doing it on a unorganized manner, if you can say so, or on a more of freelancing basis, or however you want to put it. And in fact one of my first students from the first batch of CFA level 2, one of my students, so she joined me for the training and she's still working with me, Siddhi. Just the way B school teachers, they work with companies and everybody in order to do consulting and research and everything. So I started with the same because I have a good knowledge in finance. I started doing consulting, and we had Leverage Growth formed about 6-7 years back or so. So we've been working with Nifty 50 companies, startups, venture capital funds, etc., in terms of valuations, management consulting, and pitch decks and everything, and work with SBI Mutual Fund and all these kind of companies as well. Corporate trainings for Barclays, Tata, Grasim, all of these companies under Leverage Growth. And we publish a lot of content in terms of financial news and equity research and everything. So we've been doing all of that under Leverage Growth. And in terms of technology, now we are moving in terms of a couple of ideas we have, which we're working on right now in the next year or so, this year and the next year, we plan to release a lot of things. Also with the classes and everything, we have students in 100 plus countries. So technology also becomes a very important aspect of the education part where I teach finance. So I taught thousands of students for CFA, FRM, finance, Excel, etc. globally. I have guest lecture at more than 140 colleges. I enjoy studying as well, and it's also an important part of my work. So I've completed CA, CS, CFA, FRM, CAIA, CIPM, CFP, CCRA, CIRA, CIIB, AIM, RV, probably one or two I might be missing. So that's my education. And along with that, I got my name entered in the World Book of Records last year for training the maximum number of students in personal finance with one of the colleges in Mumbai in a single day. So we train around 12,700, 800 or so students in a single day. So that was entered in the World Book of Records. I just recently did one of my TED Talks at IMT Hyderabad. And what else? I did a training for IAS recently. So that was something very interesting. That was just last week. That went very well. So this is broadly my journey so far in the last 10, 12 years of my experience. And there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more happening. With regards to entrepreneurship, since we're discussing, you need to understand there are right reasons to get into entrepreneurship and there are wrong reasons to get into it. You have to first of all understand how the social media kind of portrays things. During the year 2006-7 or so, social media and everything used to portray that jobs are very good. You fly in company jets and stay in hotels, travel with the company's money, and you have a good work-life balance. And that used to be promoted quite a bit. And come 2012 or so, 2012 onwards, particularly from 2014 onwards, it picked up that jobs are boring. 9 to 5 is absolutely boring. Don't do 9 to 5. All you have to do is startup, and to beer hai and everything. And all those things started coming up in the social media arena, and where they're trying to show you how things have to be. So you have to first be very careful that a lot of misguidance is provided. For example, you would see on an Instagram image or story or something where you'll find Zuckerberg in a pajama or something, a screenshot they've taken from the movie Social Network, and you will find somebody in a classroom or something like that, and they would try to tell you that winners don't go to school or something of that. So they'll try to portray that entrepreneurship is very cool and all of those things. So now what happens is that Zuckerberg was possibly a nerd and Steve Jobs was attending calligraphy classes, the classes that he did not even sign up for, and they would be learning coding all throughout the night and everything, and they would actually study more than what their course or curriculum had. So they would you try to market college dropouts and education is not important and all of those things. So you have to understand that how the narrative is being portrayed on social media, how your subconscious is being impacted by consuming all this information online. You have to become very careful, because what happens is when you're looking at social media, there are things that will be told to you which you want to hear, not what you should hear, because you will follow those accounts where somebody's going to tell you that travel in your 20s and forget about the future. But what happens in the future when you need medical bills, retirement bills, when you have family to take care of and everything? You can't say that the world is going to come to an end, live only once and live for today and everything, because when the responsibilities come onto your shoulders, and it does not work. The practical world does not work that way. First of all, you need to get out of that wrong misconceptions that is all there around you. Entrepreneurship is both good and bad. You have to get into it for the right reasons. You should not get into it for the wrong reasons. You have to understand entrepreneurship from that point of view, and you cannot get into it just for the sake of it. Let me start with the wrong reasons. Actually, the wrong reasons would be that I cannot listen to anybody else. मैं किसी और की नहीं सुन सकता, मैं अपना boss हूँ, मैं किसी boss के अंडर काम नहीं कर सकता. That's a very wrong reason to get into entrepreneurship, because what happens is once you're working, once you're into entrepreneurship, you will have to listen to your clients, you'll have to listen to your employees also. You would have to be, even if you're medically ill or something, the bills are running, it is your responsibility. You'll have to make sure that everybody's got work, things are moving smoothly, customers are taken care of. You cannot be very relaxed about it, because it is 100% your responsibility. So you can't say कि मैं boss के अंडर काम नहीं कर सकता, इसलिए मेरे को job नहीं करना है, मेरे को entrepreneurship करना है. That is a wrong reason. Second, money is there in entrepreneurship, not in job. That is an absolute misconception. Now what happens is when you're looking at a Sundar Pichai or somebody, their salaries are going to be in hundreds of crores. So you can't say कि job में पैसा नहीं है. Then your question would be that how many people or how many Sundar Pichais are there, or how many CXO level people are there. Now the question is, are you working at that CXO level? The probability of CXO would be lower, because obviously it's going to be a pyramid. There'll be more number of people, and as you move up, the number of people goes down. But at the same time, what you have to understand is the person who's running a restaurant is a business. Even the person who's running a small shop outside the restaurant, the footpath, is a business. So how many businesses are also getting to a level where the net profit is 100 crore? Let's say, for example, how many businesses would be generating an amount of 1 crore rupees plus? Out of 140 crore population plus, we barely have few crore people paying taxes. So the probability is going to be on the lower side. As you move up, the probabilities are always going to be lower. So you have to understand that. Because there is more money in entrepreneurship, therefore I'll do entrepreneurship is wrong. Whether you will be able to generate more money or not is a question which we need to figure out. And third is that you can't say मैं अपने मन से सब कुछ करूंगा, वैसा नहीं होता. Sundar Pichai would not be coming to office at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, play TT in the Google Google office and sit on a beanbag and do the coding. It does not work that way. You need a lot of discipline. You need a lot of hard work to get anywhere in life, irrespective of whether it's entrepreneurship or a job. So you need to understand these things. So what would be the right reasons to get into entrepreneurship? So one of the reasons why you want to do is because, say for example, if you have a patent or something on a product, if you've developed something and there is nobody else who can, and if you do not want to get into the manufacturing process of it, you can always get a royalty or something, get a tie-up or something done. And there are people, IITs, etc. also, where they're working on developing technologies and products and everything, and that is going to be used and given to different companies, collaborated with different companies in terms of manufacturing. So one could be you are developing a product, a patented product or something like that. Second, you have a unique idea, but then at the same time you have the capability, the skill set, the education, the understanding and the financial ability, family situation, etc. All of those things supporting you in terms of capitalizing on that idea. You might have an idea, but would you be able to transform it into a business? You might want to start your own Swiggy. Say for example, Swiggy is taking the kind of cuts they are taking from the, let's say, restaurant owners are 20% plus. So what if I want to start a business with 10% and give them competition? Because there's only two players, Swiggy and Zomato. What if you want to use a platform like ONDC and build your own Swiggy on that? What if you want to do that? Would you be able to do it? Just having an idea is not enough. You have to understand your competencies. That is why at times what happens is you work in an industry. That's why when you see the founder's profile and all, you'd always see ex-Swiggy or an ex-Google or something, in order to show that over the 5 years, 7 years, 10 years of working experience, they have learned how to do the business. While you're being paid, you're working in a company and you're learning the entire operations and everything, how the business is being done. Once you've got that expertise and you think that you can do the same business better or a related business better with the connections and everything that you formed so far, then you get into your own venture, your own vertical. Or say for example, you've got a certain kind of a skill set, maybe a doctor, a lawyer or somebody, and you think that you can put together a business out of it, where you have a certain skill set which can be converted into a business. So your experience, your education, your understanding, your skill set, your ability, your personal situation, all of those factors are very important for you to get into a field of entrepreneurship. So you'll have to think from multiple angles before getting into it. So don't jump into it just for the sake of it or just because you watched a few episodes of Shark Tank. So don't do that. Do that for the right reasons. Be very matured about it. You have a lot of responsibilities. Don't get carried away with what is shown on the social media platforms. Take a very informed and very matured decision when you move forward. 20s are actually one of the most difficult times of your life because you end up deciding almost everything in your 20s. Your life partner, your work, your city you're going to stay in, the kind of job role, your college, your post-grad if you're going to be studying, your profile. By the end of 20s, you kind of start getting settled. You almost have answers to all of these questions by the end of 20s. In 30s, your life is more of settling and consolidating. I understand that there will be a lot of questions, a lot of curiosity during the 20s. So you have to be very curious. You have to be very careful in terms of the company you keep. You have to be very sure in terms of reading and interacting with the right set of people. You have to be very sure in terms of the direction you take. So be very careful about it and do not get carried away because this is the age bracket in which there's the highest probability in terms of you getting carried away. So think on those lines and then you get into it. I have actually done the entire layout of this office myself. So you cannot say as an entrepreneur, you can't say that I will do this part and I will not do this part. As an entrepreneur, you have to be everywhere. So be it the legal, be it finance, be it technology, be it marketing, be it branding, be it sales. Marketing, branding, sales are separate things. Be it the content, be it the communications that the company is sending out, be it the finances, be it the accounting. Finances and accounting are separate. Accounting is a recording of transactions. Finances is managing money, investing money, taking decisions around money. Then the support, the operations part. So operations would be logistics, inventory, purchases, sales, deliveries, all of those. Technology would be around payment gateways, or be it in terms of delivery, in terms of security, in terms of websites, in terms of data management, everything. So once you start getting into the details of the business, there's so much that you need to know and you have to know everything. And taking decisions, maintaining that EQ. So a lot of things are required as an entrepreneur. You cannot have a day off as such. You cannot have your mood off. You can't choose that I do not want to work today. When a lot of people think that in entrepreneurship, if I feel like I'll go to office, if I don't feel like I'll not go to office. In fact, in a job, you can say that I'm going to take 2 days off or 3 days off or 4 days off and somebody else is going to be filling in for you. But as an entrepreneur, you would not be able to do that because if anything is stuck, if any problem is there, it is your responsibility. You have to be available. It would be at a very matured stage that where you would be able to take that kind of work off or something where you have automated and put the systems in place in such a way that you may not be needed on a day-to-day basis. So that would require a lot of time, effort, and putting things into place. It could be very stressful. In fact, I was just reading last month this book by Morgan Housel, Same as Ever. So success requires a lot of stress. People do not want to acknowledge the realities of these things. There is a lot of stress also involved. There's a lot of anxiety involved. What next? How will things happen next month? How would I be faring next month? What is the competition doing? How are we faring? So there's always an anxiety, a kind kind of a sense of anxiety that's there. So all those things are also something that you'll have to keep on tackling and managing as you move forward in your entrepreneurial journey. So not trying to scare you off the entrepreneurship, not trying to give you a rosy picture, just trying to give you a reality check. Of course, the jobs also has its own strengths and stresses. It also has its own pros and cons. You have to just decide what is good for you at a point of time, why you're getting into whatever you're getting into for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, and make sure that you're working in the right place. There was another very interesting article wherein it was mentioned that when you work as an entrepreneur in your job, you grow in your job. When you have that problem solving attitude, when you can manage the whole team together, when you can lift up your team members so that you can automate their work so that you can move up, because only if somebody else can take care of your work, only then you'll be able to move up. Having that understanding, continuously learning and developing yourselves and your skill set over the weekends, beyond office hours also. When you actually think for the company and you take the company forward, you grow with the company quite a bit. And if you're not in that case, then of course you can find another space to work in. The workspace has to be good, the environment has to be good. That is very important. If you're in the right place, you will flourish irrespective of your entrepreneurship or job. But then again, you have to take a call. As I told you, get in the entrepreneurship zone for the right reasons and not get carried away by what is shown. So Shark Tank or be it whatever, there's a lot of scripting, there's a lot of things that you see and what you don't see. So if you pull up somebody's Instagram profile, you're just seeing only the good bits of it. You're seeing maybe a 10-second or 2-second or 30-second. Even in Big Boss, you're not seeing 24 hours of it. So what you see is only a part of it, which is very much filtered. Think on those lines and then you take a call. Any questions, anything that you guys have, please feel free to ask. Go ahead. If I'm not able to answer tech-related question or something, I'll have Aman answer those. Go ahead. Feel free to ask any question that you have. I teach CFA and FRM. So CFA has 3 levels and FRM has 2 levels. The institute is in the US, but the exams take place globally. Thousands of students across the world take the exam. So I teach those courses and that's available to all the students globally. So there are people who attend live class over here. There are people who attend Zoom live and there are people who attend it at their own convenience, at their own timing at home. I think on our app currently maybe 15,000-20,000 people would be studying right now as we speak. And along with that, the consulting, and I do Excel and PowerPoint and all of those courses also, which is in the lines of finance. And along with that, we've got the consulting where we do startups, pitch decks and valuations. We help them get fundraisers. We work with MNC companies and listed companies in the research space wherein they have a problem statement, they want to launch a product or they want to do some research about some project that they have. So we do that entire research. We do corporate trainings, and for banks, financial institutions and all, we work on the learning and development side. So the consulting space is predominantly in the finance and the strategy space. That's predominantly what we're doing. And we're working on a couple of tech products in the education space, which I think it'll take a year for us to roll it out completely this year itself. So once that is there, then we'll talk more about it. Any other question? No, I do take breaks. Not that I don't, but I don't take a scheduled kind of a break. So I do take break when I'm almost like this month I'm going to be taking a break. So I'm going for a meditation thing for 4-5 days. I just want to calm my mind. So that is also needed at time. I do take holidays and all, but not like a regular break because Saturday and Sunday is classes and Monday to Friday is office class or something, or reading or studying at home and preparing at home. I think the kind of feedback you get, the kind of change you're making really motivates you. At the beginning, of course, the money is a very important factor till the time your necessities are taken care of in terms of your house, your car, or your basic necessities, not very luxury and all of that. But once a decent lifestyle is met, after that the motivation factor is about making change. That's what it is for me. So a couple of problems that I can think of. One is taking people on their face value. So that's one of the problems that I got stuck with. Always look through the intentions of people and always be very safe and secure, irrespective of how much trust you have for anybody. So that is one. Fortunately, in my line of work and while dealing with professionals and students and everything, I would not have so much of an issue with this. But those who are in traditional businesses, particularly in manufacturing and all of these spaces, or when they have to deal with bureaucratic government officials or all of those kind of gray areas, let's say, so they have more of a challenge around it. So I fortunately do not have so much of that into my space right now. But as we expand and as we do more and as we interact with more people, so one of those challenges I could possibly think of would be that. Second is having more preparation done before you, I mean, what your anticipation or your assumptions are and how much time it takes or how the market reacts could be a little different. Having better perception about how things are taken, as in when you're taking a decision or when you're going ahead with something, having more realistic assumptions. assumption. But I think that's a problem with everybody, where you anticipate that I'm probably going to take 2 months to launch this and it takes 6 months or so. So that is something that is there. But so better planning and better homework to be done before launching or before delving into something. So that is, I think, 2 things that I could probably do better. See, as an entrepreneur, I think the first person that comes to my mind is Sridhar Vembu. So I don't know if you've heard of him. So he's the owner of Zoho, because the way he is building satellite offices across the country, employing people in the country from the remotest of locations, and building a tech product in India, for India, and globally as well. From what I've read, I find him really very good, very interesting to look at. And his thought process about money and quite a few other things, I think it's very, very interesting to read about him. So I would probably say Sridhar Vembu. I think there'll be more people. I'll have to think more, but I keep on seeing posts about him on Twitter and everything, his readers' thoughts. Naval Ravikant could be the other one, but less of an entrepreneur, more of an investor. But I would like to go with Sridhar for this. Any other question? I try to take calculated risks. I teach financial risks. So I believe that having a fair understanding of risk, taking hedged kind of positions at time, of course, you can go a little overboard. For example, keeping my expenses low and helps me to take more risk because it gives you more margin of safety in terms of taking risk. Planning your expenses, your investments and everything in a way where you can take more risk. So I am trying to manage my finances and my position in a way, and my expenses and all in such a way where I am going to be competent to take a lot more risk. Planning the future in such a way that you're automatically going to be in a position where you can take more risk. So that is about the courage part with regards to risk. My education worked very well in terms of when I planned to shift to Kolkata and start teaching and leave my job and everything. I knew that with my education, I would be able to always get back to the corporate in a very good role. That is one. Second, I believe that when I was teaching in Kolkata, I moved to Delhi, I taught on the weekends over there. And then when I was 100% sure that yes, it's something that I should pursue, then I made a move back to Kolkata, leaving my job. Always have more information and do your pilot runs, let's say, for example, before you get into something full time. The other one I could think of would be, even when I was teaching over here, I made it a point to do a lot of corporate trainings and guest lectures and everything. One, because I needed to earn, because I was not making any money. I had just shifted and I had left my job, so I was not getting a salary or something. So that was one. So I was trying to do that. And along with that, I was still studying because I wanted to remain very, very relevant to the industry, to the corporate side as well. In case I want to go back or I have to go back to the corporate side of things, I started doing that because I wanted to be relevant. And after a good number of years of experience in terms of teaching, even now I understand that there is a lot of scope in the learning and development space in terms of ed tech or in terms of finance companies, given my knowledge and domain in finance, be it equity research, be it fund management, etc. Keeping myself updated about the markets, about stocks, about business models, about strategy and all of those things. So continuously learning and updating yourself around all the aspects of skill set, reading not just finance, I read across areas, putting all of those things together. Even today, if I want to go back to corporate, I'm very, very confident now. So back when I left my job, obviously in the first year or the second year after leaving the job, I would question that if I want to get back to a job, would I get one and what kind of job I'd get. But with my education, I was very, very confident that I'd obviously be able to get back to a job. Maybe I might have to start maybe 10-15% lower than what I was working for, because I got one of the best placements in the campus in CA. But with the experience and with the learning, I mean, today I'm absolutely confident any company would be obliged to have me. So that's how you develop yourself and you work on yourself. As I told you that I was teaching on weekends, so I knew that my dad is going to retire very soon, and I had checked that yes, I was enjoying teaching on the weekends despite my job, and Monday to Friday I was enjoying my job. My job role was very good, budgeting, forecasting, analysis, MIS and all. But since I was doing very good and I knew that I can probably experiment for the next few years since my dad was working at that point of time, so I left my job, came back and I tried, because I was also sure that I could always go back to the job. And in a couple of years itself, my dad retired, and it took another couple of years of struggle, but then things started picking up. So I knew that if I wanted to experiment, that was the best time to start. Giving them more responsibility and giving them more, I would say, freedom in their space. So I give them a broad instruction. Also, it depends on the capability the individual has. So there are people who would be more in terms of a process oriented work and they're more comfortable with that. So with time, while interacting with people, you start understanding what they're good at and what they're not good at, and what kind of line of work would they be enjoying more. And if somebody is capable and wants to do more, give them more freedom, give them a broader outline, or give them an outcome that this is what I want. Let them work on it. With time, start giving them more freedom in terms of, let's say, resources, that okay, right now you can have a team of 2 2. You can hire 2 people in your team, or you can have 3 interns in your team. As they move up or as they level up, also in terms of management, there are people over here who might be doing better work, but they're not good in terms of getting the work done from other people. So they will have a leaner team and they will be given more of work to do. And there are people who may not be that comfortable doing the work themselves, or they may not have that accuracy, but they're good with managing or getting it done. So they would be getting more of those kind of responsibilities. Understanding the nature of the person and accordingly aligning the way and the kind of work you give them. I think that helps in terms of collaboration and giving them that platform to get the best out of them. You have to be extremely thorough. You have to know everything. You have to read a lot more, and you have to be extremely thorough about the minutest of things. So for example, when I'm teaching on a laptop, this comes out. When I'm not teaching on a laptop, this goes inside right back till the end, so that people can see and the view is not blocked. With the minutest of things, and Disha will show you around in the office, you'll understand the minutest of things have been thought so carefully. So the depth, the perfection required, the minutest of things and the broadest of things you have to know. If you're doing the business, the overall picture, the bird's eye view, and the minutest and tiniest of details. So both the things you have to be absolutely adept at.